Hello everyone. Please let me know if I'm audible or not. Hello everyone. So, where are the viewers from? So, just comment your city. Where are you from? Where are you watching it from? It will be great to know. Vrindavan, that's nice. Gopal. Bareilly, Uttarakhand, Lucknow, Bijnor. Oh, that's great. We have got the audience from almost all over the India. That's great. That's great. Bihar. Oh, nice. Mohali. Hello. Bangalore. Great, great. So tell me about your what's your expertise in DevOps or maybe in developers field or any other field that you have. We will start the session at 7:05. Let's wait for some more minutes to more people will join. Lucknow, nice Evyanshu. Advanced stack development. Yep. So second year CS engineering. That's great. Voice not clear. Is it so? Am I not audible? Speak loudly. Okay, okay, okay. Okay, so I'll try to be as loud as possible. Let me know if you missed something, so I'll again repeat it. IT sixth year. Oh, I've never heard that we go till sixth year. Video quality should increase. Yep. I don't have a webcam with me, so I'm using this inbuilt camera that my laptop has offered to me. Very sorry for that, but soon you will not have to look to this ugly face. You will soon be viewing my PPTs and the coding part. So that's great. Yes, yes, you will definitely get a certificate after this boot camp. Don't worry about it. Sir, MacBook ले लो. Okay, sure. I see someone is having Mun Stack Developer as their course. So you will be amazed to know that today we'll be deploying a static website on GitHub pages. So yep. We'll definitely start in some time. Let's wait for two to 3 minutes more and let other people add as well. So for the time being, do you guys have any commit issues that you have done, like not the commit issue, the GitHub commit issues I'm talking about. So if you have any funny story that you can or you want to share, you can share it. It will be great to know like what all errors you have faced. Hanji, Prince, certificate will be there after this session. You will get a link and then you can fill out those answers and then you will get your certification as well. I'm in second year, interested in full stack development, but really afraid of how to start. Okay, so I'm also not a web developer, but I have done something in the web development field, so I can definitely tell you. Start learning about HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and then you can directly jump to some coding languages. If you have any experience with Python, you can pick backend of like Django or Flask. If you have a compatibility with Java, you can use Node.js or something like that. And believe me, starting is the most difficult part. So just embrace to it and you'll definitely reach somewhere which is obviously better than the position that you are in currently. I'm new to GitHub, can I watch it? Yes, Amrit, this is basically the session for beginners only, so you will definitely enjoy it, and after completing the session I can assure you you will learn too many things, and you will be in fact industry ready, and you can directly help your colleagues or help your friends who are already working in some company and does not know about Git, because I have many friends who does not know Git, so you can help them. I'm from Bhopal, Madhya Pradesh. Smith. Okay. Yes, Smith, it's nothing to be worried about. If you don't know anything about Git, you will definitely learn everything today. Not everything, because no one knows everything about anything. So, but you will learn most of it. So, yes, you can stay and watch the whole lecture. It's beginner friendly lecture, and I'll start everything from the basic. How long is this class? It will take around 1.5 to 2 hours. But still not sure if doubts come, then it may extend. Okay, so now I think we should directly jump to our session. And yep, so let me share my screen. Okay, so hello guys, I'm Suvit Sharma and I'm a DevOps engineer. I have experience of about more than 4 years in GitHub. I'm sorry, in DevOps. And today we'll be learning about Git, GitHub, and GitHub Actions. So today's lecture will be very beginner friendly. So from beginners level, I'll tell you like what are the best practices that you should follow for each tool like Git, GitHub, and GitHub Actions. And we will not be simply learning like what's the command and how we should do it. I'll give you scenarios like how we use it in corporate, and then I'll tell you how it's done. So it's basically a scenario based learning. So yeah, let's go to our topics, and so first I'll be starting with Git. Then we will move on to GitHub, and I'll tell you the differences between these two. There is only a very thin line difference between these two, and these two terms, Git and GitHub, are often used interchangeably by developers. So it's not a big thing to worry about. Then we will move on to how we can install Git. Then there will be some hands-on session to demonstrate real-life scenarios involving Git that I have discussed with you. Then we will go to GitHub Actions for CI/CD. CI/CD stands for continuous integration as and continuous deployment. Then at the last of the session, we'll be going to deploy a static website using CI/CD best practices. and it will be using the GitHub Actions, the automation tool that is provided to us by the GitHub itself. So so today's session will be basically on GitHub and GitHub Actions. Okay. Let me open my YouTube live session so that I can read comments as well. Just give me a minute. Okay. So without wasting any time, let's directly jump into the theory part. I'll make sure that theory is very less so that you don't get bored along the way. So Git, what is Git? Git is a version control system that we developers generally use to track changes in our code and collaborate with other teams. Like you could collaborate with, if you are a developer, you could collaborate with the DevOps person, or you could collaborate with other operation teams. And you can also manage your project very efficiently using this Git. So Git is basically a CLI. CLI stands for command line interface. So command line interface, if you ask me, you have CMD on your Windows laptop or terminal on Linux or Mac OS. So that's a command line interface where you enter command and it interacts with something. So Git is a CLI. It's a CLI, and in industry it's usually called as VCS or SCM tool. VCS stands for version control system, and SCM stands for source code management tool. So why it's called VCS and why it's called SCM, I'll explain it to you. So why we use Git? So Git basically allow us to track the changes. Just give me a second. Okay. So why use Git? Version control. So let's suppose you have a code base and you are continuously pushing codes to that code base. Then it's important to know at a particular instance of time what are the changes that you have made. So it helps us storing all those changes and keep track of those changes as well. It also helps in collaboration. So multiple developers or multiple teams of developers or a team of operations or team of DevOps can work together on the same project without getting conflicts. Also, there is some branching and merging, which we will not take right now because I'll explain to you what are branches in Git and what is merging. How do we merge them? So that's a part for a later session. And we also have backup and recovery. So as you know, we can track the code changes over the time. So backup is very efficient. Like you can anytime in any point of time, you can just go back to the version that your code used to be, or restore the previous versions of your code. Okay. Speed and efficiency. So GitHub works very great, very great with large code bases, and it does not have any sort of lag, and it works offline as well as online. So it becomes even interesting to work with it. So now we have discussed what is Git. Now comes the turn of GitHub. So GitHub is a cloud platform. It's not the CLI. Git is the CLI, the command line interface where we type the code and get the output. GitHub is a website or cloud-based platform which hosts Git repositories. So what are repositories that we will definitely cover in the upcoming slides. So just to give you a gist, repositories are the folders where you store your code. Okay, so it helps us to store, manage, and collaborate on code. Make the voice in clear level. Voice not clear. Voice not clear. I'm really very sorry. So I'll again explain what is GitHub. So GitHub is a cloud-based platform. It's basically a website which hosts Git repositories. What are Git repositories? If you ask, repositories are nothing more than just a folder where you store all your codes. So that's repositories, and it enables developer to like store, manage, and collaborate on code that we have already discussed. So basically, it's the same thing with the CLI as well as the GitHub. It provides user friendly interface for version control, like we have already discussed it. Team collaboration, yep, completed. CI/CD automation, I have told you what is CI/CD. And automation we will definitely see in the second part of this lecture, which we'll be using GitHub Actions to automate our code. So now, if anyone is to ask what is the difference between Git and GitHub, so Git is the CLI command line interface where you type the code and get the output, whereas GitHub is a website where you host your repositories. Repositories are the folders where you store your code. Okay, so it's basically interlinked. Git CLI, Git, which is the CLI, will interact with the GitHub. GitHub will host your repositories. Repositories will have your code. So that's the simple analogy. Now comes the tedious and the boring task of installation. So GitHub does not require any installation. For GitHub, you just have to simply go to github.com and sign up using a mail ID. And I would highly suggest you to use two-factor authentication or maybe your authenticator app, so that you don't get hacking issues at any point of time. So it's highly recommended that you use two-factor authentication or use a authenticator app. Okay, so GitHub sign up or installation is done. Now we'll move to Git CLI, which is the command line interface. So it has three different offerings for all different platforms or OS operating systems. So for Windows, you have to go to any browser and type Git for Windows download. On the first link that you will get, you have to download the Git for Windows. Just keep on pressing next, 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 and then you will be good to go and will be ready with the Git CLI on your Windows system. If you are having a Macintosh, then you can just type brew install Git. If you have Linux, that is Debian or Ubuntu, you can use this code sudo apt install Git. If it's a rail-based system, you can use sudo yum install Git. Okay, so now after this, your CLI will be installed on your local computer. Now let us go and configure the Git. Before we use Git, these steps help us to set up the local repositories for us, and it's mandatory to set it up. So you have to use these two commands: git config global user.name, and here you will enter your name. On the second command, git config dash dash global user.email. So here you will enter your email address, and yep, that's it. Git is now configured fully. The CLI, you will be able to use it. So why do we have to provide with these two information, like your username and your email? So whenever you are doing any change to your repository that are hosted on GitHub, so you definitely have to make your code available to the repository, right? Repository was a folder that contains a code. So as you all know, Git also stores the history of your commits, or maybe everything that you push is stored on GitHub. So it must register it with some name, like this person has made this change. So for that thing, we need this global configurations. And if you want to check the configuration, if they are configured correctly or not, you could use this command git config dash dash list. Sir, voice not give certification test, please. Is my voice? Okay, I'm speaking as loud as I can. Okay, I'll try to be even louder. Give certification test, please. Okay, so we will definitely have the certification test at the ending. For now, let's move on to the next part. So if you have any doubts in the installation process, please ask in the comment section. I'll definitely answer it. Uh, you may have some time to write your comments. I'll be waiting for it. Done. Okay. I think everyone got the gist. So Is this like a VS Code? No, VS Code is something very different. VS Code is a, what do we call, IDE, Integrated Development Environment, and it's not similar to Git. Git is a version control system or a source code management tool. So they are totally different. So using a IDE, you can write your code. Visual Code is there to provide you uh, the code that you can write. There you can write your code, but if you want that code to be readily available to every developer, you will push that code to GitHub using the Git command line interface. So that's it. Once more, what is Git? Oh, difference between Git and GitHub. So okay, Git is basically the command line interface. So I'll show you. So this is also a command line interface, which is called command prompt. So here we have, if we want to interact with our computer, we will use commands. Okay. So one command could be cd, which is change directory. One command could be make directory mkdir. So like that, Git is also a CLI. If I'll show it to you, uh, Git bash. So this is also a command line interface. This is Git. Okay. This is Git command line interface. And what is GitHub? Let me show you this. Okay. This is GitHub. The website itself is called GitHub. Okay. So that's the difference between those two, Git and GitHub. I hope it's now clear. Who was the one asking? Nagaraju, is it now clear? Uh, I'm sorry. Fayaz Khan is asking difference between Git and GitHub. I hope I made it clear now. I think I have covered all the doubts. How to install Git CLI? Okay, so it's not that big of a deal how to install Git CLI. I'll show you, but I have already installed it. So you have to type Git for Windows and download. You will get the first website of Git here, downloads, and you can select your operating system over here. It will simply download it, and then you have to just press next, 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 next. Don't change any default settings. It's suited best. So that's it. That's how we download or install it. Okay. So now, moving on to our next part, certificate कैसे मिलेगा? Okay. So Danish, certificate will be given at the end of this session. So you have to give a test, and then according to that test, you will get the certifications. Okay. So we still have a little bit of theory left. So maybe just a little. Bear with me. It will be worth it. I can guarantee it. Okay, so now what is a Git repository? We have already discussed it. Git repository, often shorted as repo, because repository is a very long name to be called. So we use short form of repo. Is a storage location where Git track changes to your project files over the time. Just as we have discussed, it's just a folder where you store all your code. It contains all commits. Commits are basically save points. So whenever you save the code and you save it on your local system, and then you push it to, pushing means saving it to the GitHub, which is the repository. Repository is the folder. So whatsoever code you write, you save it in the repository. So that's commit. Branches, we'll definitely deal with it in the later stages of this session, so don't worry about it. I'll tell you what are branches, how do we work with them, and what are the use cases of branches as well. Also, history of a project, it contains all the history of a projects. So it's quite obvious, if it's storing all the save points, then it's also storing history at the same time. Please tell me about intents. So how to create a repository on GitHub? If you are new and you want to take a screenshot, if you can't remember it, just take a screenshot of it, and within some seconds, I'll show you how to make a new repository. Also, okay, so I suppose you have taken the screenshot. Please tell me about shortcut about GitHub. I'm sorry, Danish. I was not able to get your question about the shortcut that you are asking. Okay, so now we will go to the GitHub and create a repository of our own. So let's open GitHub fresh. Okay, close it. So here, as you can see, these are my repository that I have created over the time. And for this demo purpose, I'll create a new repository. So I'll click new over here and it will take me to the page where I can create repository. So here I have to name the repository. So I'll name it. What should I name it? Let's say Git, GitHub, and GitHub Actions. So it's a demo. So let's type in demo as well. It's a very lengthy name, but usually the shorter ones are not available. So that's why I've used this bigger name. So for now, you can leave this description to be empty. And these are the two types of repository that we can have. One is public and another one is private. Okay. So public is the one. So anyone over the internet can see this repository and but in this case you will have the right of who can save it, who can save code to your repository. It will be visible to everyone, but only the chosen few will be allowed to commit. Commit is basically the saving process to the Git. Okay. So this is public, and if you ask me what is private, private is basically no one will be able to view it until or unless you give them rights to view, and only selected few will be able to commit to this repository. So that's the basic difference between the public and private. But for our use case, we will be dealing with the GitHub Actions in the later stage of this session. So GitHub Actions is obviously not a free of cost thing. If you choose the private repository, that's why we are making it a public repository, and everyone will be able to see it. So that's also why I'm using this repository. I'm making this repository as public. For now, you can leave this part and just click on create repository. Okay. So now our repository is created. So the folder that we need to store the code is now completed. What we need is the code to be committed to the repository. So we will jump to, I'll copy this name and now we will start coding and I'll explain you like how it works. Okay, so let me open my desktop and here I'll create a new folder where I'll be storing all my changes and I'll rename it as the name of our repository. Okay, so now here what I need to do is I have to make something which is called git init. So I have to initialize the git over there in my repository so that git is able to know what changes I am making. So with the help of this command git init, git is able to track the changes that we are making in this repository. So how to execute this command? Just simply type cmd at the location, so it will open me CMD at this location, which is the folder that I have just now created. And now I have to type git init. This will create a folder which will track all the changes over the time that we will make in the repository. Okay, so git init, initialize git repository. And as you can see, now a .git folder is created. This .git folder will track all the changes that are being made. Okay. Now, what we have to do is there is no linkage, like there is no linkage between the GitHub and the Git currently. GitHub is the website that where we have made our repository, and Git is still on our local system. Git is the one command line interface that we have installed, right? So they are not right now connected. So we have to connect them. For that, GitHub is already providing you with these things like command for basic commands. This command is used to add a readme.md file. Readme.md is basically the very high level overview of what the project is about or what the repository is about. So I'll leave it for now, and I'll simply add the origin. So I'll copy this command, and after I've executed it, I'll tell you what it means. Okay, so git remote add origin, and here is a link, https github.com Suvit Sharma, and this is the name of my repository .git. So basically now we are connecting the GitHub with the local Git command line interface that we have. So as soon as these two are connected, then we will be able to commit our codes or save our code on the repository that is hosted on GitHub. Okay, so let's press enter and see what happens. So it will not make any changes. It will just connect it to my GitHub. Okay, so now we are almost done. Now let's say, give me a minute. Now we have connected our GitHub with our local Git command line interface. Now all we need is to make files and make code and then commit it or save it to our GitHub. So let's do what we can. Let's make a new text document and name it first file. Okay, first file.txt. Now let's go in here and write something. So what should I write? First. Okay, so let's go with the simple thing. First, save it and then close it. Okay. Now if we go to our command prompt, we will see what is the status of Git. Git status. Git status. Git status basically shows you the status of what are the changes that are being made to your repository. So let's see what it shows. So Git status. So it's stating that you are on master branch. No commits yet because I have not saved anything to my repository. So it's showing no commits yet. And it is also showing me untracked files. Now it is also helping me with some commands like git add file to include what will be committed. First file.txt is shown in red color, right? So it means that it is not there. It is there on our local system, but it is not there on the GitHub. Okay, so we need to push this first file.txt to the remote repository, which is our GitHub. Okay, so how can we do that? So first we will say git add, and we will say git add dot basically means all the files that are untracked right now. Okay, so we will just simply say git add dot. It will add the files to a staging area. Okay, and now we will say git add git commit -m. We have to provide a message. If you are having any doubts in these 2 3 commands, don't worry. It's just for the first commit. We'll definitely again do it with some theory as well. So no worries about it. So git commit will basically save the changes for you with a message, and this message will be displayed alongside your code changes. Okay, so I'll simply write first commit. Okay, now I have committed it, and now I need to push it. Okay, so I'll just simply say git push. It will show me some errors. Yep, it is not completed. So it's suggesting fatal. The current branch master has no upstream branch. So instead, it's suggesting me to use this. And I'll just copy and paste it. And boom. it will start uploading to my remote repository, which is hosted on GitHub. So now let's go over to the GitHub, and if we will reload it, we can see the first file is here. And yes, I have written the same text first, and it's here. Okay, so that's good. So that's how we make changes. Sorry, that's how we connect Git with the GitHub, which was using this command. Git remote add origin, and the link of your repository. It's available as soon as you create the GitHub repository, and you can see uh, right now I have committed some things, like I have committed this file, first file.txt. So it's not showing me the code over here, but if you have not committed any file to the repository, then GitHub will show you the codes over here. So you simply have to pick that code and paste it in your Git, and then the Git and the GitHub will be connected. Okay. So git status is to check what files are there which are untracked and which are not being committed to the GitHub, which are present on your local that you have developed but not present on the GitHub website itself. Okay. So for that we use git status. Okay. Now, after the get status, we know that first file.txt is not there on our remote server. Okay. So what we did was git add. We added the file, and dot means every file, all the files that are currently untracked. Okay. So git add dot will add them to a staging area where they are just ready to be committed. Committed means yes, save it. That's simple mean of git commit. So minus m is a parameter which is the message that we use to write. So if any changes made, like if I'll show you where this first commit shows up, it's here, first commit. Okay. So alongside the name of the file, you will get the commit message here. So that's why it's important to always provide a minus m parameter here. So git commit is saving it, and git push is basically pushing the whole things that you have changed on your local system to the GitHub. So I hope it's clear till here. Yep, I'll surely provide the PPT. So these are some important codes regarding your repository features. So maybe if you want, you can take a screenshot of it. We have already seen it in action, the Git init, the directory thing that I told you. This is change directory. If you want to change the current directory in which you are there on CMD, you can use this. So that's about these commands. We have already covered it using the hands-on session. Um, so that's how we push the code to from local to remote. Okay. So if you can't remember these few steps, like I used to forget them a lot. Like what's the order of this? Git add, then git push, no, git add, then git commit, and then git push. Okay. So I always used to forget the order. So for that, I have made a mnemonic of ACP, uh, add, commit, and push. So after add, what is there? Hey Git, watch this file. Okay. It basically moves the file from working directory. Working directory means your local. I mean, where you have made the changes. The changes are there on your local system, on your laptop, or maybe on your PC, but it's not there on the remote area. Remote area is the GitHub. So first, what happens after you execute this command is Git will add the files which are untracked currently to the staging area. So just suppose it's an area between your local and your remote. So it's just an in between area where it keeps the file after you execute this command. After git commit, you have to provide a message as well. It's mandatory to provide a message, else it will throw some errors and ask you to write a message alongside it. So it basically says, okay, save these changes. It takes everything's in the staging area. Staging area is just somewhere between the your local system where you have made the changes and the GitHub where you want to store the changes. So staging area is somewhere in between. So it takes everything from that area and saves it in Git's history. Okay, so right now it will be saved, and you can view it in the commit section as well. And also the command that you provide with -m, like here I have done git commit -m first commit. So -m is the message that I'm providing. Okay, then git push. Okay, so git push basically says send my changes to the GitHub. So it will get picked up from the staging area and then direct to the remote. Remote is basically our GitHub, the website where we made a repository. Repository is a folder where we store our code. Okay, so it uploads changes directly from your staging area to the remote repository. Okay, so I hope this ACP is now clear to you. Uh, if you have doubts, you can ask them. Till then, I'll read the comments. Push step bata do. Okay. What is a push? How should I explain it? Let me open my paint and see if I can explain it to you. So this is your code, and after you execute git add, so it will somewhere here it will push the changes. I mean, so all the changes that you have made in your local repository will go to the staging area. Staging, staging area. So it will be moved to the staging area as soon as you press git add, and then after the git add, this staging area will be filled with some files. Okay, so files are basically the code that you have changed. Okay, so now this staging area will contain your code. Okay, now what you will do is then you will say git commit -m and your message. Git commit message. So this will basically say, yes, I have confirmed that these are my changes and I'm ready to push them. So just save it for now. So it will save every content on the staging area. And as soon as you, I missed a step, save it. Save it, no, save the changes. changes. Save the changes. Okay. Now, if you will type git push, it will take git push will take all the changes from your staging area directly to your GitHub. GitHub. You remember where we created repository, the website that I have showed you? So as soon as you hit git push, it will take all the changes that are there on the staging area, and with the message that you have committed, it will push everything to the GitHub repository. So after that, you will be able to see the code over here in the GitHub. Okay. So after the first file I have committed, and I have used ACP add commit push. So I was able to see this file in my GitHub, which is the repository. This repository is hosted on the GitHub. Okay, so that's one thing. I hope now it's clear. Yes, I think the recording is available. I'm not sure, but I think it's available. Okay, so shall we move forward? Or if you have any doubts, you can ask them right now. I'm viewing the comments. Can we delete a repository? Yes, we can definitely delete a repository. So to delete a repository, you just go to the repository and go to the settings tab, and in the bottom of the settings tab, you will find delete this repository. After you click delete repository, it will ask you to write something like the name of the repository, maybe, and then after you have typed the name of a repository, it will show you that you can delete it. So yes, it's possible to delete the repository. Neeraj Slap, sir joined just now. How many things I have missed? So you have not missed much. It's just the add, commit, and push. If you are aware of these things, you can proceed further. I'm just teaching how to push the code to the GitHub. So when the session will come to end, भाई इतना बोर हो गए क्या अभी से ही? अभी तो बहुत बाकी है. Okay, so let's move to the next slide. Roll back to the previous commit. Okay. So now we have created our repo, initialize a repo on our local, make first commit. Yes, we have made the first commit. So now I'll tell you the use cases, like how we work in industry and how things are done there. Okay, so let's suppose you are making an Instagram app. Okay, so let's make it new. I'll use, sorry, my bad. Delete it. I want to create a text file. So new, and then I'll say a text document, and it's instagram.txt file. So it's I'm not writing the code. I'm just telling you how this works. So let's suppose you have this file and it contains your code. Okay, so code. So what all do we have in Instagram? Okay, so I'll try to remember it and then I'll type it here. So first we have home screen. Okay, what else do we have under home screens? We have posts. Okay, so post could have like, post could have dislike, or post could have comments. Okay, so it's not the code, just assume it's code. Okay, now in the bottom of the Instagram app, you can see there are like four bottom navigation bar buttons where you can just switch between your profile, the home, or maybe other things where you create the reel or something like that. So let's say we have a bottom navigation bar, and here you have four buttons. So just for the sake of simplicity, I'll write first button, then two button. Okay, so just two buttons are there. Okay, so this is the code for our Instagram app. Okay, now I'll save it. So all the changes that I'm doing right now are on my local. These changes are there on my laptop, not on the GitHub repository. So if you want to check, you can check it here as well. This is my GitHub. If I'll go to my code section, and yep, you can see it only contains first file.txt. It does not contain the Instagram.txt that I have just now made. Okay, so we want to push this code to our GitHub repository. So how can we do that? So let's go with the code. I have already created it. I have saved this file. Yes, I have saved it. So now what I need to do is I have to again follow the same process, which is the ACP, add, commit, push. Okay. So I'll simply say git status to know what files are missing. So it's clearly showing Instagram.txt is missing from your remote repository, which is this website, the GitHub or the repository where it is hosted. So it's missing there. That's why it's red. So I'll say git add, and I'll also at this time I'm just adding a single file. So I'll type the name of the file. So you can do that as well instead of using a dot basically adds everything that is untracked, and git add, if you specify a specific file name, then that specific file will be added to the staging area. Okay, so let's see. So yep, it does not show any error, so it means it added the file to the staging area. Now I have to check the git status again. Get status. So now you can see previously it was red, but now get status shows green file, which means that this file is on the staging area. Okay. Now I have done git add. So ACP ka A ho gaya hai. Now we need to do git commit minus M code for Instagram. Okay. So this is my code, and now I'll push it. Git push. So it will push the code directly to the GitHub website or the repository that is being hosted here. Okay, so if I'll refresh it, yep, now it's available. Instagram.txt, the same code that we have written for the Instagram, though it will never work. And if it works, then it's a trouble because it should not. Okay, so Instagram.txt is now here. Okay, but as I've told you that I'll tell you the best practices that you have to follow in the industry. So currently what you have done is you have pushed this code on the master branch. And just one thing, this is a blunder. You never push anything directly to the Instagram after the first commit. Okay. So why is it so? Because let's suppose you have production environment. Production environment is basically the environment where the whole world is using it. So once you make an app, it's basically available to the whole world, right? So the whole world is accessing this Instagram using this master branch. Okay, and you have just now changed this master branch. Okay, so that's a trouble. If your code is not up to the mark, then the users will have some trouble using the Instagram app. Okay, so that's one thing. But you don't have to worry. Like it's really very simple to handle it. You just have to go to this new tab and search how to apply for resignation. Yep, and you should fill your resignation form as well because it's a blunder. Just kidding. We can definitely roll this back. We can just delete it. So how to do it, we will see. Let's move back to our PPT and go to our next slide. So now you have made a mistake and you have to go to the previous commit. Okay, so let's see how we can do that. Basically there are two options that Git provides to roll back to the previous commit means the save points that you have used. Okay, so git reset dash dash hard, and then you use commit id. So it basically will move to the previous commit or the previous checkpoint that you have made. Okay, uh, how to get this commit id, I'll tell you. And then you have to use git push origin master minus f. Minus f is the force command. Basically it will not accept the previous commits, so you have to force it to accept. Just one more thing, git reset basically deletes the commit history, so any commit between those will be deleted. So it's not a big deal, but if you want to have the commit history intact, so you will use git revert with the same commit id that you are using here. Okay, so I don't want the history in my case, so I'll use git reset. Okay, so let's go back to my command prompt, and here I'll show you git reset dash dash. Okay, so first we need git log. So these are basically the commits that we have committed over the time in our project. So you can see the first commit, the message that I have used with my first commit, and then you can see the second commit message code for Instagram. So this code for Instagram is something that I don't want over here. Okay, this is not something that I need. Okay, because I have directly committed it to the main branch or the master branch, which is incorrect way of doing things. I'll tell you what is the correct way, but first we need to remove it from the master branch. So what we do is, this is the commit ID that it's required here, so you can use it. This is the commit ID. Okay, so I want to go back to this commit 75 and ending with 05. Okay, so I'll type git reset dash dash hard, and commit ID is this one, because I want to roll back to this commit where the Instagram was not added. Okay, so I'll simply press enter, and it's now showing head is now at first commit. First commit is the message. Okay, so let's see. We have already completed this. Now let's go to our GitHub and see if it actually worked or not. No, it didn't work. Instagram.txt is still here. Why? Because the change that we have made is stored in our local and not yet pushed to the GitHub. So we need to push it to the GitHub, right? So for that, we will use the command git push origin master minus F. So minus F is for the forceful command. Git push origin master minus F. Okay. So now it will push the changes to my GitHub, and let's now see if this Instagram.txt is deleted or not. Yes, it's now deleted. And if you will go here, first commit, it shows you from here, you can see all the commit history that you have made in your entire project life cycle. So here it only shows one commit. Okay, so we have used the reset option and it does not store the history. So here the history is deleted, like history is deleted. Okay, so now we are already we have already set it up this GitHub page, and now we need to add the Instagram file, right? Because we have now reversed the blunder that we have done by directly committing to the master branch. We have reversed that thing, but we still need to push it to the master somehow. So for that, I'll jump back to my PPTs and tell you what is a Git branch. So a Git branch is basically a lightweight movable pointer to a commit, allowing you to work on different features or fixes without affecting the main code base. So that's basically, in IT industry, you will always have some very high level terminology, like very difficult terminology to understand what is happening. So this is one of those things. In simpler terms, think of Git branch as a simple separate workspace where you can make changes without affecting the main project or the main branch. So your code is intact. You are just creating a new branch out of it, and here you are making the changes and then making that branch go to the master branch. So that's how the process is completed of uploading any file to the master branch. Okay. So these are some codes related to the branches. If you want to take a screenshot, you can quickly take a screenshot of it, or maybe go back in time and take a screenshot of it. For now, okay. So for now, I'll show you how it's done. So first we'll go to a branch. Here you can see one branch. Go to here and create new branch. So branches are basically extended version of your other branch. So if I'll say new branch name is feature, and after feature, I'll say basically you could provide any name to this branch. It's just for the sake of convenience. I'll provide it a very good name so that I'll be able to understand what this branch is for. Instagram, and then I'll say Instagram code. Okay. What is source? Source is basically out of which branch you want this branch to be made. Feature Instagram code. So whatsoever is there on the master branch will be picked up at that stage when we are creating it, and it will be transferred to feature Instagram code or the new branch. Okay, and now you can change here. So let's see, create new branch. Now I can go to code and you will see there are two branches. So there is a drop down. So one is master branch and another one is feature Instagram code that we have just now made. So this file contains only my master branch contains only one file, which is first file.txt. If we'll go to feature Instagram code, it will be exactly similar as the master branch because it's extended from the master branch, right? So now what we will do is we will go to our command prompt and we will say git pull. Okay, so why git pull? Because now you have made change on GitHub, right? We have changed this website, right? We have created a branch over here, but our local or our laptop is not informed about the changes that we have made. So in order to get the changes that are made on the GitHub itself, you will have to use the command git pull. So git pull will basically take the newest things from your GitHub and transfer it to your local. So that's why I have used git pull, because I have created a new branch and this branch will is my local is not aware of this branch. So to make it aware, I have used git pull. Okay. Now it's now we need to check out to this branch. So first I'll show you what is my current branch, git branch. So this is a command to show like how many branches you have and you are currently on which branch. So it's the asterisk shows that currently I'm on this branch master. Now you might ask that hey, we have created a future Instagram code as a branch, but still it's not coming up here. Why? It's because Instagram code is does not have any commits yet, so it's not appearing here. So as soon as we make any commit or push to that branch, it will definitely come here. So let's say what we have done here is first file. Now let's go to other branch that we have just now created. So we will say git checkout and just copy the branch name from here, feature Instagram code. Check paste feature Instagram code. Now, if I'll say git branch, it will show me I'm on feature Instagram code instead of master. Okay, so I have changed the branch on my local as well. Now I'll again make that the same Instagram.txt file. I shouldn't have deleted it, right? Let me see if I have it here. Yep, I have it here. Open. So let's copy the content, close it, and close it. This is my Instagram. Spelling is incorrect. Instagram.txt. Open it, paste it. So this is the page that I have made. Home page. Then we have post. We also have dislike and like, dislike, comment, bottom navigation bar, updated by this one. Let's remove this. Yep. So that was the previous state. Now let's say you have to push this thing to the GitHub repository. Okay. So what we will do is we will again use the ACP of Git, which is git add. But before adding anything, just make sure that you are on correct branch. So my intended branch is feature Instagram code. So yes, I'm on that branch. I've just now checked it. Now I'll say what's the status. So as you can see, Instagram.txt is currently not available and it's not there on the GitHub, but is there on the local. So I'll say git add. This will add it to the staging area. Now I'll do git commit minus m adding Instagram. Okay, go till here. Now I'll say git push. It will show me an error, but with error it will. Nope, that's great. Sometimes, when your code works, you are still in doubt like how it's working. So it happens all the time. So now I have pushed it. Let's see and check if it's there on our master branch or not. Okay. So master branch does not have Instagram.txt, but if we will go to feature Instagram code, it does have Instagram.txt. So now what I'll do is I'll create a pull request. So what are those pull requests? So we will jump back to PPT and see just a little bit of theory what are pull requests. So pull request is a way to propose changes to a code base. So like in master branch, I need to make sure that Instagram.txt is there, code of Instagram is there. Okay. So I made another branch and pushed my Instagram.txt file over there. And now what I'll do is I'll merge this Instagram code branch to my master branch so that these two branch will become one, and all the changes that I have made will be recorded and it will be approved by someone. Okay, so pull requests are basically approved by someone, then only we are able to merge it. So pull request, a formal request to merge code changes from one branch into another. Yep, we want to merge code from feature Instagram code into the master branch. So tick. Allows team member to review code before it's merged. Yes, I've already told you about it. You just create a request, and if you only set the approvers, I have added someone as my reviewer, so they will review my code, and after they have reviewed and approved my pull request, then only I'll be able to merge it. It also helps maintain code quality through peer review. Yep, not a big deal. Merging pull requests. So this is basically once the your pull request is approved, then what will happen is Instagram feature Instagram code will get merged into the master branch. Okay. So the process of combining code changes from one branch into another. Okay. Can be done through pull request or direct merge commands. Okay, so this can be done via command line interface as well, but I'll show you the easiest way, which is using the GitHub itself. So we will create our pull request on the GitHub GUI. GUI stands for graphical user interface, which is the website, and not the command line interface, which is where we have to type codes. So merging becomes quite difficult when you use the command line interface. So we will use it GUI, the graphical user interface. Usually involves merging feature branch into main or master branch. Yep, yeah, that's what we are doing. We are merging our changes into the main or master branch. So let's get back to our code and see where we are. So as you can see here, we have an option of pull request. Okay, just go here and you will see new pull request. Click here and it's asking you in which branch you want to merge. So it's the base branch, which is master. Yes, I want master to have data from feature Instagram code, right? So it's showing me yes, we are able to merge those two files, and within this, it's showing me the changes that I have made. So everything which is green shows that this file is added. If it's red, it means that it's removed. Okay. So let's add this and create a pull request. Okay. So before clicking on this, just make sure that the changes that are being shown here are the ones that you intended, that you have made. Okay, so just make sure before clicking this. Yes, I'm sure that this is the changes. These are the changes that I want in my master branch. So I'll simply say create pull request. It's also a good practice to always add a description. So I'm adding a description, adding Instagram code. Okay. Instagram code. Okay. Now I'll create a pull request. So it has verified. Now it's showing merge pull request. So basically we can merge those two branches. But what happens in the industry is you will copy this link and send it to someone uh, who is at a senior position or does know more than you, or maybe a colleague, just for a double check whether the changes are correct or not. So you can just send them the pull request and they will be able to see this page. And once they open this link, they quickly go to the files changed and see, yes, this is the Instagram page, and then they can approve it. Okay. So once this is done, as we don't have second developer over here, so I'll merge this pull request myself, and I'll click confirm merge. Pull request merged. Okay. So now let's go to our code and see if master branch has instagram.txt. Yes, it has instagram.txt, and it's currently merged from this branch, which is feature Instagram code. Okay. Now, okay, so now we have instagram.txt in our master branch. Okay. Now, let's suppose there comes a situation where you are required to remove the dislike button. Okay. Usually, whenever you see Instagram, you don't see dislike button, right? You don't see the dislike button nowadays. So let's suppose it's today that we want to remove the dislike option. So how we can do it? First, the simple process that we will follow is create a new branch out of the master branch. So I'll go to two branches, create a new branch. I'll quickly do it just because we have done it, and it's just another way of showing it. Feature remove dislike. Okay. Remove dislike. It's extending from the master branch. So everything that is currently in master will be stored in the feature remove dislike as soon as I create this create new branch, which I have clicked. So I'll go to code. Uh, this is my branch, three branches. I have feature remove dislike. Okay, I've created the new branch. Now, if I'll go here and say git branch, I can only see two branches. Why? Because I have made the branch on GitHub and it's not currently there on my local system. So my laptop does not even know that there are some changes on the GitHub. So for that changes to be received in my laptop, I need to use git pull. So it will pull everything out of that GitHub repository and transfer it to my laptop, to my local git pull. Okay, so now I'll go to the Git branch, and I've already copied. No, no, I've copied the wrong text. So I'll again do git checkout, and branch name is feature remove dislike. Okay, so I'll paste it over here. Feature dislike git checkout branch feature. Switch to a new branch feature remove dislike. Okay, so now I am on that branch. So here this is the same repository, but the branch is now changed. So everything here is from the feature remove dislike button. So I'll just open it, remove the dislike code, and yes, that's it. Save it, close it, go to your command prompt, check your branch, git branch. So yes, I'm on remove dislike branch. Now what I'll do is I'll quickly check the status. These are the good practices that you always follow. You can directly add without checking what branch you are currently on, what's the status, how many files are modified or not. So that's one thing, but still I would always prefer to make sure that I'm on the correct branch. Then the files that I'm intending to add are currently untracked. Okay, so git add dot git commit SCM, and I'll say remove this like, okay, and then git push. So it has pushed my changes to remove dislike feature remove dislike branch. So let's verify if it's there or not. Let's go to this feature remove dislike branch and instagram.txt. Let's open it. Yes, dislike is not here. So our code is successfully pushed. Now we will just create a pull request where I can, yeah, there it is, pull request. I have to open a new pull request. I want to merge my feature remove dislike into master branch. Remove dislike into master branch. Okay, so as I can see, it's clearly showing this red part, and it means that dislike is removed from this part. Okay, so this is the new entry, and this was the previous one. Okay. Yep, this is the intended change that I need. Create pull request uh, for for good practices. I'll just add a comment like what is done. Remove dislike button. Okay, then I'll create a pull request. After the pull request is created, it's always good to share this link with your colleagues so that they can also review it. But now, currently, I don't have any colleague working with me, so I'll myself merge these two branches. So these branches are merged. If I'll go to master branch and go to Instagram, I can see that dislike is now removed. Okay. So that's how we work with the Git, and how we make branches, and then how branches are merged back to the master branch. And why do we follow this process, if you ask? Is because master branch is currently serving only one purpose. Master branch only purpose is to be used by the production environment. So everything that is there will be available to the whole world via our deployments. Okay, so you usually don't change anything directly to the master, because yes, you are human and you can make mistakes. So it's better you just make a new branch, change everything over there, test it on that branch, and if the testing is successful, you create a pull request like these are my changes and I want them to be merged to the master. It will fulfill our purpose. If a task is given to us, it's been fulfilled, and someone will review your PR is short form for pull request, and if they see there are any mistakes in your pull request, they will simply reject the pull request or they will approve it. Once it's approved, you can always merge the branches. So that's it. That's about Git branches, pull request, and reviewing the code or approving the PR. Okay, so I hope you are clear till here, and also we have done the merging part. So now I think you all are able to merge and do the things that I have done. So please let me know if you have any doubt till here so that we can proceed to the next part, which is a very simple part of cloning the repositories. So let's go to my meeting. If you have any doubt, you can ask over here. Okay, so I think there are no questions. So we might go further, like cloning a Git repository. So let's suppose now two developers are working on a code, and I, as a manager of a team, introduce a new member to my team. So they will definitely need this code in their in their local system, so they can also contribute towards the code, right? So for that, they need this whole thing to be replicated on their system, like we are doing. Okay, so so this is the directory where I have stored everything, which is on the github.com. So let's say another developer comes and he wants everything from this website or github.com. So how they can achieve it is by cloning the whole repository. So I'll make another a new folder, which is let's name it cloning, clone of demo. Okay, so let's say demo, and here open a command prompt cmd. So basically typing cmd here opens the command prompt at this location, at this directory, clone of demo. So as you can see, C users, my username, desktop, and clone of demo. So I'm here in this directory. Now I need to type git clone, and to clone anything, all you need is to go to your main branch, I'm sorry, to GitHub, and on front page you can see this green color code icon written. Okay, so you just copy this code. Yep. You just copy this HTTPS one. Okay, just copy it and paste it here, git clone and the URL. So as soon as I hit enter, it will clone the entire repository, which is Git, GitHub, GitHub Actions demo. So it will copy everything to the new folder, which is clone of demo. Okay, so if you will see, it was an empty folder, but after the execution of that git clone command, I'm getting the repository name over here. Okay, so if I'll see, there are everything. It is the everything is present on my local system, which was there on the GitHub. Okay, so that's how if a new developer comes, or maybe if you have accidentally deleted everything of this local files or the folder, if you have accidentally deleted it, you can again clone it. So that's also a major use case. I think cloning is pretty much clear. If you have any doubt, you can ask. Okay, so now we'll go to git ignore. So what basically is a git ignore is git ignore basically ignore, if you want to ignore some files to be pushed to the GitHub, then you can use it. Okay, so let's say I am having some logs. Okay, text document logs.txt, and I don't want this to be published to my github.com. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll create a new git ignore file. So let's do it. Clone of demo. Let's close this first. Give me a second. I'm deleting the clone because I don't need it. Cancel because it's should delete. Okay, so I'll make changes over in my first directory, which is the name of the repository, and this is the location which is open in CMD. So I'll create a new file. Type. I'm just basically creating a git ignore file. Dot git ignore. So if I come here, I'll see a git ignore file being just being created here. I'll open this file with Notepad. Open, yep, it's open. And I'll add new file text logs.txt. So logs are something that you don't need on your GitHub. So you don't want it to be available on your GitHub. So just mention the name over here, logs.txt. Okay. So save it, close it, and then push the changes. So git status STATUS, git status. Yes, we have added a git ignore file. We want it to be there on branch feature remove dislike. So if I'll change it, it will be added to the remove dislike. So let's push it over there only. Git add dot git commit minus n, added git ignore. Let's see what happens now. And now just simply say git push. Okay, so at this time, if you can see, I have added two files here, .git ignore as well as logs.txt. But logs.txt are is not here. It's not tagged. So basically Git will ignore that file. So sometimes you need to ignore some files like the logs file or the build artifacts and those things. Okay, so that's about it. Yeah, that's pretty much about Git. This is everything that this is almost everything that you will use in Git. Okay, so let me move back to my PowerPoint presentation. Okay, so we have already created it. Yep, so Git ignore is done. That's it. That's about Git. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hello guys, welcome to another session on GitHub Actions. So we will be discussing about what are GitHub Actions and see them in actions. Okay. So basically GitHub Action is a CI/CD, continuous integration and continuous deployment tool that basically automate tasks. Like you could test something, you could build your app, or you could deploy your code and everything. So basically in IT sector, very difficult terms to annotate very simple logic. So CI/CD, if you will see over here, it's nothing, just a sort of automation. So it's basically an automation. CI is basically continuous integration where you add code on top of each code, on top of the previous code. Okay. So like you have made changes, right? We have made changes in the GitHub repository, right? So making those change over on top of each other is known as continuous integration of code. Okay. And continuous deployment is basically where you uh, take the code that you have changed and then deploy it. Okay, so here we will be trying to deploy a static website on GitHub pages. That's the purpose. So I have told you about the GitHub Actions as well, like what are those and how it works, what is the purpose, what are CI/CDs and why we use them. It's basically to automate the task like testing, building your app, or deploying your code. Okay. So before that, before jumping directly to the code, we have to know like what are events in GitHub. Okay, so event could be anything. Like if a code is pushed basically means when you say git push, so the code is pushed. It's an event. So on push, you want to have some jobs running. Like if a code is newly available to the master branch, you might want to have some test cases run on it, right? Because like if a code change, there will be some functions, that new functions will have some test cases, and those test cases will be again evaluated, like not again but will be evaluated for the first time in the Sonar cloud. So for that changes we need CI/CD pipelines, and those pipelines are nothing but just the workflows are automation tasks, automation scripts, nothing more. So if an event happens in Git, there would be some action corresponding to that event using the GitHub workflows. Okay. So that's about it. So event could be when a code is pushed, or a pull request is merged, or a pull request is created, or some of the if if you want to schedule something on the same at some time, at some specific time. So let's suppose developers usually work from 9 to 6. Okay, and there is a very big app that requires like 8 to 10 hours to just build it. Okay, so for that much time no one will be interested in seeing like how this work is being done, because it's automated. It will automatically build the code for you, but it will take 8 to 10 hours. So in that case you might want to schedule your jobs, or maybe schedule your automation task, or maybe automate your building task to happen at a certain time, which is like 12 at the midnight. So by the time developers come in the morning, like at 9 a.m., before that every build task will be done. So That's how you use a scheduled time occurs, and it is also called as a CRON job, cron job. There are also other events, and basically corresponding to events, we do some actions. This is the whole purpose of GitHub Actions, where we create workflows. Workflows are nothing but just automation script. Okay, so I hope GitHub events and actions are clear to you at this point. There are also some other very important key components in GitHub Actions. One are workflows. Workflows are nothing, just the automation scripts. Okay. So it's defined in YAML language, and YAML stands for yet another markup language. It's basically similar to the HTML that we have all that you might have studied. And it's basically placed inside a folder called GitHub Workflows. So I'll definitely show you this one. And events, we have already discussed what are events. Basically, it could be a push. So if there is a push to master branch, then run this workflow. Workflow are nothing but just the automation task or automation script written in YAML language. So as soon as there is a push, do this task. Okay. As soon as there is a pull request, do this task, and this that task will be mentioned in the workflow file. We can also schedule it. Okay, now coming to the third point, which are jobs. So, what are jobs in workflow? So, basically, when you write the code, there are some jobs that you need to that needs to be performed. Okay, so it is basically performed on a virtual machine. This virtual machine is called a runner, and it is provided to us by the GitHub itself. Okay, so runner is basically just a virtual machine. So like if you have to do some automation task, you need a computer. Okay, so you need a computer to execute your task, right? So that computer or the virtual machine is provided to us by GitHub, and it's called runner. So as soon as your work is done, this runner will disappear, just like your toxic X. Yes, they will also disappear when the work is done. Okay, so that's about the runner. And job could be like build, test, or deploy, like we usually have in DevOps. Building is basically building the project. Test is testing the test cases against everything, against the functions. And deploy is basically making the whole thing or the whole code available to the whole world. Okay, so these are some jobs that we need or that are there on GitHub Actions. Okay, so there are two, three more things. Okay, steps. Basically, job consists of steps, and each steps is basically a command. It could be like installing dependencies or running test cases, deploying, making artifacts, making a Docker file or making a Kubernetes file or anything like that. Okay. Actions are basically code that are provided to us by the GitHub themselves, and it basically reduces the load on our DevOps engineers so that they don't have to write repeated codes. So this example checkout, let's look at this example, which is actions checkout. So this is an action which is already provided to us by the GitHub, and it basically pulls your code and make it available to the runner. Okay, so runner does not have anything. Runner is a virtual machine that GitHubs provide to execute your automation task. Okay, so they need the code, right? Those runner need the code. So for that code to be available there, this actions checkout workflow is used. Okay, so that's about the theory of GitHub Actions. Let's do one thing. We will create a new branch and commit our workflows over there. We will create new workflows. Okay, so let's say new branch. New branch is from master feature, and let's name it workflows. Okay, create new branch. Now our branch is created, feature workflows. Let's copy the name. Go to our command prompt, cgit pull, so that the changes that I have made on the GitHub will be fetched to my local. So it will know that yes, there is a branch newly created. Okay. So for that, I'm using git pull, and as you can see, new branch feature workflows. It is now available in our local system as well. I'll simply check it out, git checkout, and paste it, feature workflows. Now I'll check my branch just to be double sure. Yes, I'm on feature workflows, and now it's time to create workflows. Okay, so for workflows to be created, they need to be there in a directory which is called dot github slash workflows. So we will make a new directory, make dir dot github slash workflows. Okay, so this command is going to make a folder which will be named as github slash workflows. Okay, so I'll press enter. The syntax of this command. Okay, syntax of this command is incorrect. Let's see what's the mistake that we are making. Make dir mkdir. Uh, okay. So maybe it's not working twice. So let's cd to dot github and again make directory called as workflows over here. Workflows. And if we will go to our local repository, here you can see .github slash workflows is created. Okay. Now we want another workflow to be created over here. So here we will create our workflows that will be automating tasks for us. So I'll simply say, if you are not sure like how these commands work, don't worry. Usually everyone Googles it. So you just need to know like what you are doing. So here, if you don't know about cd, it's basically used to change the directory. If you are not sure about mkdir, it's basically used to make folders using the command prompt. Type null. This is the command that I never remember, so I always look the internet for this. So it's quite common, so you can use it. Okay, so type null, and the file that I wanted to create is deploy.yaml. Okay, so it will create a file. Let's check if it has created it or not. Workflows. Okay, so I was not there. Okay, so I'll move it to the workflows. Yep, now it's in workflows. Let's do one thing. Cd dot dot. It will. This command will take me to the previous directory. So now I'll say git status status because we have made two new files. You might be wondering why logs.txt is showing up here, but it was not there because we have added the git ignore. But git ignore is on another branch, not on this branch. We have never merged that branch with master, so that's why it's here. Now I want .github to be there on my feature workflow. So I'll just simply do the ACP git add dot git commit minus m, adding workflows, a beautiful message, adding workflow. Okay, spelling mistake. Git commit and then git push. Yep. So now code is pushed on my GitHub. If we will come here to feature workflows, you will see .github slash workflows, and inside that folder you will see deploy.yaml. It's currently empty. I have not written anything over here. So I have just committed the file. So let's go back and write the code for the workflow. Okay. So let's open this file. And for the sake of simplicity, I have already made this code. I'll just copy paste it. It's in my Notion. Along with, I'll explain it to you. So let's paste this code in the deploy.yaml, and now I'll tell you what's the syntax and what is every code corresponding to and what are the changes that are being made by these changes. Okay, codes. So first of all, name. Name is a parameter that our workflow will have. So this whole page is having the name, this whole workflow is having the name deploy static content to GitHub pages. Okay. So that's the purpose of this pipeline or maybe the automation workflow. We want this workflow to deploy static content on the GitHub pages. Okay. What this on push branches mean? So it's basically saying whenever there is a push on branch master. Okay, so it says whenever on push to branch master, you have to execute these jobs. These are the jobs that we have mentioned. We'll definitely look what are those jobs. But first, you have to provide another parameters like workflow dispatch. So all the workflows that you create can be seen over here in Actions tab. Okay, so adding workflow. So this workflow will not run. So, but you can see like it's there. GitHub workflows deploy.yaml. Okay, but it's not executed yet because it has nothing. We have not pushed changes or the workflow to the branch. Okay, so this workflow dispatch allows us to manually trigger the workflow from the GitHub. For that, we need some permissions. So this is basically saying I need this much permission. So permission tab, permission parameter, and for contents. So basically, I'm saying you can read all my contents whatsoever is stored on the GitHub. So yes, they can read it. Now, pages to write. Pages is the GitHub pages where we are going to host our static website. Okay. So I'm giving them the permission to write over the pages so that my HTML file can be written to the GitHub pages. And as this whole work, the jobs that are being executed by this workflow are being executed as a bot. So GitHub usually does not allow the bots to do such jobs. Basic automation we can do without this ID token, but for specific tasks or tasks which are not in the scope of bot execution, they will have to have a GitHub token, right? So this command is basically providing the GitHub token to this whole workflow so that it can execute the task of deployment on GitHub pages. Okay. So what is this concurrency tab, concurrency paragraph? So let's say it's just saying that if there are two concurrent pushes, so basically whenever there is a push on master branch, this whole workflow will trigger. Okay. So let's suppose there are two developers working simultaneously. Okay, and they both uh, merge their code on the on master branch at the same time. So two according to this on push to branches master, according to this, two times the workflow has to trigger, right? So for that, we are saying that just execute one at a time, and if one is getting executed, don't cancel it. Cancel in progress. So do you want to cancel the in progress execution of workflow? We will say no, we don't want it. Okay. Now we will go to the jobs. So these are the permissions that we need. Okay, so to execute the jobs, these are the jobs that will basically does the automation task for you. So first job is to so that's the syntax. You have to mention jobs. Then the name of the job is deploy. Then you will say on which environment. Okay, so what are the things that you will require for the environment? Name is GitHub pages. Okay, and what it is doing is in the steps dot deployment. So it will go to the deployment step, which is here, and as soon as it provides some output, we will use the page URL. Page URL is basically the URL of your code which is going to be hosted on the GitHub pages. So this whole paragraph is basically suggesting GitHub workflows to store the URL which will be uh, like executed after this deployment step has completed. Okay, steps dot deployment. So this is the deployment step. Okay, so after this, it has some outputs, and out of those outputs, we are interested in the page URL, right? Okay, so runs on Ubuntu latest. So I have already told you that GitHub Actions provide us with the runner. Runner is the virtual machine which will execute all these steps. Okay, all these steps will be executed on the runner, and that runner will have operating system Ubuntu with the latest version. Okay, now what we need is we need to check out the code. Okay, so the code is stored on the GitHub, and we want that code to be there on our runner, the virtual machine provided by GitHub Action. So to check that, to make that code available to the runner, we will use this checkout. Checkout is just a name. You can name it anything. Checkout ABC, checkout BCD, anything. So it's just a name. Okay, and it uses action checkout v4. So action checkout v4, the it's already provided by GitHub for the sake of simplicity. And the next one is to set up the pages. So basically, you have an index.html, and it needs to be there on the runner. So it will help setting up those pages, and this step will basically upload it. The upload the artifacts. Artifacts are basically the files that are there in our repository, and it will upload it to the uh, runner so that our website can be hosted. Okay. Uh, so with path dot suggests that all the files should be uploaded. With this action, upload pages artifact at the rate v3, which is the version 3 of this action, which is already provided by the GitHub. So we don't have to write the codes for everything. You can just use actions and slash after that. There has to be action provided by GitHub to fulfill your request. So if it's already there, you can use it, right? The last step is to deploy to GitHub pages, and the name of this step is deployment, and it uses another action provided by the GitHub, which is deploy pages at the rate v4. So in actions, you can see the deploy pages. It's the name of the workflow. At the rate v4 suggests that it's the version 4 of this workflow deploy pages. Okay, so let's see this in action. Let's save it. I hope it's clear to you, the whole workflow. It's nothing. These are the 2 3 jobs that will be performed. Okay, let's minimize it, code, and let's quickly make workflows is there. I'll also add the main index .html file, so that it's basically the HTML file that hosts our code, which I also have it in my Notion. Let's copy it and new text document. Let's name it, should I name index? Okay, index.html. So we want to edit it. So let's first let it be text. Let's do here. Paste the text, control S, save, close, and rename it to index.html. So This will be the main page that will be serving that we will be serving to GitHub pages in order to make our website available. Okay, so let's do one thing. We have created our workflows. Deploy.yaml is there. Yes, it's there. We have already created logs.txt. No, not the log, the index.html. Yes, we have created it. Uh, Now let's check. We want to push it. So before pushing, let's check everything. Git branch. Yes, I'm on workflows branch. Git status, git status. So modified files are deploy.yaml and new file added is index.html. Yes, I want those two to be committed to my GitHub. So let's say git add dot git commit minus m adding index.html comma what else you have added deploy.yaml workflow. Okay. So let's make this comment and now just push the changes to the GitHub. Let's see. Yes, it had pushed the changes to github.com. Refresh it. Okay. So from here also you can create a pull request. So just now I have made pushes to the workflow feature workflow branch 4 seconds ago, and I instead of going to the pull request and manually creating a new pull request, from here I'll create the pull request, compare and pull request. So it will take everything like I don't have to select the feature workflows branch to be merged in master branch. So let's say adding workflows, index.html. Let's create a pull request and let's merge it, confirm merge. So now if we will go to our master branch, we can see that GitHub workflows are here. Yes, deploy.yaml is there. Index.html is also here. That's good. Now, this is the workflow, and we have already made it clear to the GitHub Actions that as soon as there is some change, if there is some push to the master branch, just execute this workflow. So here, as you can see, it has executed this workflow, but it has failed. So let's see what's the error. HTTP home runner configure test git pages side. Okay, so we have not enabled the GitHub pages. That's the error. So we might want to go to settings, pages, and deploy from a branch. Instead of this, deploy from a branch, change the source to GitHub Actions. Yep, that's good. Now let's again try it. So, yep. As you can see, we have mentioned in the code over here. Where's the code? Go here. GitHub, GitHub workflows, deploy.yaml. So this part, workflow dispatch. Uh, just give me a second. This part, workflow dispatch, is basically enabling this button to work, run workflow. Okay, so I'll click run workflow. Let's see if this worked this time or not. Actions. Let's again go to actions. So it's executing. Let's see if this completes the job or not. So artifact upload is completed. Deploy to GitHub pages is currently being executed, and yep, they both finished. Let's go to our pages and see if we have any website going live now. Right. So as you can see, your site is live at. Uh, it's hosted currently using the GitHub pages. So let's go over here, visit site, open link in new tab. Yes, welcome to my website. So this is a website, very simple website that I have made. So if you want to understand like what's the real power of this GitHub Actions, I'll tell you. So we are currently on this branch, and what if we make another changes to this file? Let's say welcome to my new website. I want to append the change new website. So we have to change the code, right? Let's quickly change that code. Okay. Deploy.yaml. I don't need it. Close it. Dot GitHub. Let's go over here, index.html. It will open this site. So let's open it with Notepad. Yes, good. And then title, no. I want to add the word new over here. Welcome to my new website, or maybe add another paragraph over here. P. If you are unable to understand it, like leave it. It's just the simple changes that I'm making to make the HTML more interesting. So let's say uh, session is completed. I hope you enjoyed this session. Okay. So if this code is displayed on the GitHub pages that we have just now set up, then the session is completed. Okay. So let's save it, and we have saved it in the local, but it's not yet there on the global level, which is the remote repository. So let's get branch. Let's check the branch. Yes, we are on feature workflows. Get status. STATUS. It will show that index.html is modified. Yes, I have modified it. Get add dot to add all the files. Get commit minus m. Uh, let's say updated index.html. So this commit is done. Now we will push it to the GitHub. Git push. Let's see. Yes. So the code is now pushed. So let's see if my workflow is running or not. Let's quickly go to the Actions tab and see if it's running or not. No, it's not running. Why? Because in the code itself, where can I see my code? Okay. So in my code, I have mentioned that only here on pushes to branches master. Okay, so I have not pushed to the branch master. That's why this code is this workflow is not getting executed, because we have pushed this to feature workflows. Okay, not to the master branch. So now we will just simply merge this branch. Okay, if we do not have that option of, let's manually new pull request, create a new pull request. Feature workflows. Let's see. Yes, my changes there. Session is completed. I hope you enjoyed the session. Create pull request. Updated text.html. Okay. So let's create a pull request out of it, and yep, merge it. Confirm merge. As soon as we create this merge request, something is pushed to the master branch, and it should trigger a workflow. Yes, workflow is currently being triggered. So let's see if it gets completed or gets stuck in between. So far so good till now. Upload artifact is done. Deploy to GitHub pages. So we are now currently deploying to GitHub pages. Reported success. So this step is also completed. Post checkout. Yep, it's all completed. Deploy is completed. So now I want to see my page if there are any changes or not. So let's go to settings, pages. And as you can see, it has just now made changes because it's showing now. Let's go to this website and see. Okay, it's not there. But why? So it's because of my browser caching mechanism. So it has cached the previous version of this website, which I obviously do not want. So to hard refresh it, we also want to delete the cache. So for that, we use Control Shift R. Yep. So as soon as I deleted the cache, I get this wonderful message. Session is completed. I hope you enjoy this session. So yes, that's it for today. And I hope you enjoyed. I hope you really enjoyed the session. And yes, just one more thing I want to say before I leave. I know the things might not be as easy as I have done here because I have a lot of experience and you don't. But believe me, if you will keep practicing it, you will definitely get it. So there is nothing holding you back. Just keep practicing. And believe me, starting is the most difficult part. So just start it and definitely you will get better. Okay. So that's from my side. Thank you very much. How to get certificate? Yes, the link is already provided.